done it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we are Through and Goal, a podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam, and as always, I'm joined by my best friend. I mucked that up. My best friend and co-host Elliot. Hello, Elliot.
Hello, Sam. Hello.
11th one we've done, and that's the first time I messed up.
That is the first one you messed up. I'm surprised you're not going for a take two, but professional.
Nah, do you know what? No, this is who I am. Yeah. I make mistakes a little bit. Obviously, we'll get onto it a little bit later, other than the usual. How are you feeling? How's your week? Apart from Tuesday. How was your Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, apart from Tuesday, it's been an okay week. It's sort of like it's relief now. It's done and dusted.
Yeah, closure.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you could get on.
Yeah, it's been a busy week and it's been a good one all in all. How's your week been?
Yeah, week's been all right. Obviously, we now know September 12th.
Yes.
EFL, Premier League, everything is like that's when the start of the season.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, September 12th. That's going to be very busy for some teams. Like, if you think one team, for example, we haven't even got this scripted, but you think of one team, for example, Wolves. They started their season a year ago yesterday as we record with a Europa League qualifier against Crusaders. They've only just finished their league campaign today. They go into Europe in the next couple of weeks. So it'll be mid to late August by the time their season's finished for them to start again in mid-September, play all the way through, and then for some of those players to go off to the Euros at the end of that.
That's it. And you've got to hope as well that throughout their Europa League and stuff, no one's coming in poaching any of their players.
Yeah.
Because transfer window's open.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't want to play like the semi-final of the Europa League with Jimenez, and then the final, he's been sold somewhere. You don't want that, do you? So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, be interested to see. But it's good news, obviously, that has been confirmed. We've actually got a date to look to now, September 12th. And our fingers crossed, fans are allowed back in to the stadium in October.
Just touching on what you were saying, I just got these visions of, say, Real Madrid, massive team with a lot of money behind them, are in Champions League final. I could just see them poaching the opposition's players on the eve of the final, just so they're out of the game.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah.
That is good tactic though. But no, it's October, isn't it? Fans coming back.
Yes.
And I know I'm praying for a Gillingham Hull game. That's not in September.
Yeah. See, I'm a little bit surprised that the EFL sort of League 1, League 2 teams are pushing for starting football when it is starting in September, because I'd have thought they'd have wanted to push it back that month or a couple of weeks or whatever it could be, just so they've got the fans in the stand, they've got the revenue of fans being at the game. Yeah,
no, it's a fair point. I think given it's a month, so there could be some, obviously, because there's the Sky. I'm assuming, I don't know how much of a success it was for the. You pay £10 for Sky.
The streaming, the iFollow.
That's the one, the iFollow. So I don't know if there'll be a bit of an emphasis on that for a month. They could probably survive, and then the fans come back. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in October? Obviously, stuff still could go on. We're not going to get political here with the fear. But let's start, Elliot, with the Premier League. As of it kicked off 4 hours ago. It's now finished the season, which we never thought, there was a very good chance it was never even going to come back. Like when in March, Arteta was announced that he had the virus, and obviously that cancelled all future games indefinitely. There was a point in April and stuff that we were sat there thinking, well, is it voided?
Yeah,
but
because
fair play.
Yeah, I remember when they first stopped the league, they put a date on it of something like 2 or 3 weeks later. And here we are, end of July, and we've only just now finished the season. But yeah, like you say, there was a big question marks with lower leagues getting voided, points per game, what's happening. But thankfully, the season has been able to finish on the pitch.
And I definitely think it's been a success.
Yes.
It's all the games have been televised, which has been amazing. It's going to feel so weird next season when it goes back to normal televised viewing. We're going to be like, hold on, no. Saturday at 2:00, I was watching something. I was watching football. And now we have to wait the Super Sundays and the midday, the 2:00, the 4:00. Not.
Yeah, what do you mean? There's only 3 games televised this weekend? I've been watching 3 games every Thursday.
So that's going to be a bit of a reality check.
Yeah.
But in all all seriousness. It has definitely been a success, I think, it coming back. When you look at the testing that's happened every week, I don't think there's ever been more than 3 in one week.
No, I don't
think that's the highest.
Yeah.
So it's very good to see. Aston Villa are a Premier League team for another year. Thoughts?
The Villa's not going down.
No.
Alexa, don't play that tune. But they can somewhat count themselves lucky and somewhat thank themselves for putting in performances when it mattered. Like it was the winner against Arsenal midweek that really it took them out of the relegation zone, and nobody saw them coming out of the relegation zone, to be honest. Yeah, that was a massive result for them. It didn't really seem like the most interesting game today against West Ham, like because West Ham was safe. Villa they only needed a point in the end. But then you can go back to that first game after the restart against Sheffield United, where Sheffield United should have won the game 1-0. And if that goal that went in stood as it legally should have, Aston Villa would be a championship club.
Yes, it's a fair point to say that obviously all games are played over 30, the whole season's played over 38 games. Is not just defined by one moment, but that was a huge moment.
Yes.
That someone forgot to turn on goal line technology is, let's face it, a big factor as to why. That's the point. They're a point above Bournemouth. That is the point that kept them in the Premier League. Brilliant win against Arsenal. Obviously, you can't deny that. Yeah. That's where I really, really missed fans. Is, can you imagine
the scenes
at Villa Park when that went in?
Yeah,
it would have erupted. Would have gone mental, and it would have been really, that would have been really good to see. But Villa. When I look at the teams that have gone down, so obviously with Villa staying up and getting that point against West Ham, Watford and Bournemouth, obviously at the expense, have been relegated, confirmed. Now, Bournemouth, I think, were after maybe the first or second year of the Premier League. 5 years they stayed in the Premier League. That's no mean feat. That's incredible for a team of the stature of Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But you can't help but think maybe second, third year they maybe started to overstay their welcome a little bit. However, when it came to Watford, I don't care.
Yeah, like
you can't have 3 managers in a season. 3 managers they had, and a caretaker.
Yeah, see, it is quite telling that there is no secret formula to staying up in regards to managers. In that Watford are changing managers every other week, and Bournemouth have kept with Eddie Howe all the way through. So it's not sort of one size fits all or anything like that. But yeah, Watford, I think their biggest mistake was getting rid of Pearson. You stick with him. You've got 2 games left, Man City and Arsenal. And it might have been the kind of game that Pearson maybe doesn't allow it to go 3-0 as it did today. No.
As I said, they went 3-0. They showed a bit of character to come back. Obviously, did bring it back to 3-2 in the end. And Bournemouth, like the restart, they got a draw against Tottenham. They won 4-1 against Leicester, and they beat Everton comfortably today 3-1 as well.
Yeah.
Solanke scoring another goal. He's ruining the stats.
He's ruining them.
He's ruining it. But who knows? Maybe Solanke in the Championship next season.
Yeah.
It could be the start he needs. That 3-1 against Everton was a good win. It was frustrating in a way, because obviously you saw against Tottenham, against Leicester and against Everton, they're no slouches. They're good sides. Leicester we'll come on to in a second. But it was semi-frustrating. Like, look, you can play football. Why was that? Where was this Bournemouth?
Yeah, you've left it too little too late.
Yeah, exactly right. So when I look at Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford going down, I can only really see Watford coming back up. I can't see it from Norwich and Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think we had this conversation a little bit a few weeks ago, and I can see Bournemouth going back up if they can keep hold of a few of their bigger players. Now, I do expect the likes of Josh King and Callum Wilson to go and those kind of players. But if, like Solanke, he's started to score a few goals. If he can chip in with 15, 20 goals in the Championship season, and then you've got players like Philip Billing, very good midfielder.
Yeah. Ramsdale. He seemed to have come into his own this season, didn't he?
And it does sound like Ake will be on the move this summer, and not surprisingly, really, he's a hell of a defender. But yeah, David Brooks, he's a hell of a player, and he's been unlucky with injuries, particularly this season. But I think that they have got the core of a team that can get them back into the Premier League. But yeah, Watford, I think they stand the best chance of coming straight back up.
I do too. If they can find, well, it's if they don't have another 3 or 4 managers next season in the Championship, then maybe they will. But I saw someone on Twitter tweet at Sky Bet, "Can you please give me a request to bet for Watford to have over 5.5 managers next season?"
Yeah.
We sort of go down. I thought West Ham would go down. Obviously, I made no secret of that in the early episodes of this podcast. I thought Villa would. I thought Villa would stay up, and I thought West Ham would go down in spite. But obviously, Watford looks like they did instead. So it's a shame. Mm-hmm. Fair, and obviously, I just wanted to mention as well with Villa. Obviously, they were in the bottom. They were like relegation zone for a lot of the season. Yeah. And obviously, when lockdown happened, obviously Dean Smith didn't have exactly a brilliant lockdown. He lost his dad during lockdown, and he's really put it into the Villa players, to fight to stay up.
They've had some very big results. Yeah. It maybe just seems a factor if they wanted it more.
That looks like it was it.
Yeah, and I do think that they've probably got, at least on paper, the best players. The Jack Grealishes, John McGinn, Tyrone Mings, those kind of players.
Jack Grealish, though, looks like that was his swan song. He scored his final goal for Villa, I think. It
does sound like that, doesn't it? Because what was it? Didn't they ask Dean Smith about Jack Grealish's future, and didn't he say something along the lines of his immediate future is having quite a lot of beers tonight?
Yeah, that's just fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, we haven't written this down, but did you see Roy Hodgson, what he said about Zaha?
No, I didn't.
It was quite interesting. He was asked about his future, Zaha, and obviously Roy Hodgson was like, it's a dilemma for the club and for him if he is so set on leaving. We still like him very much. We can't make him like us. And then he said his form in the last few weeks has been quite poor considering what he's capable of doing. It's like,
right. You're talking down your best player. See,
it's like, I don't buy him. He's awful.
Yeah, see, I know it's very early at this stage. We don't even know who the 20th team in the Premier League is going to be, but I can see Palace being a team that struggled. They got a point today against Spurs, but they'd lost their previous 7. And if they were to lose Zaha and maybe not have the best summer in terms of transfers, I can see them being a team to drop next season.
They've really misused Max Meyer, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Liverpool. Now, they finally, 30 years of hurt, they finally lifted a Premier League trophy at Anfield. It was a weird one, because I didn't. Granted, obviously, I know there was a trophy lifting at Leeds, but I didn't really watch that trophy lifting. I watched the Liverpool one because obviously Lana
happened on
being
the same night.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and obviously Lana being Liverpool, she wanted to watch it. It was interesting. It was a lot of lights, a lot of atmosphere and fireworks and stuff, which was good. But you do miss that crowd, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
With that trophy lift, and every player gets the lifting the trophy, and then the manager gets the trophy and gets the biggest one of them all. And that would have been quite nice to see, like that reaction from Jurgen Klopp. It was nice that they had all their families there and everything to lift the trophy and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it was fair enough. And obviously Jordan Henderson as well got to lift the trophy, being injured. Being captain, though, he full on deserved it this season. Yeah. Did you one? It was an interesting game because obviously Liverpool won 5-3. Yeah. But the thing that I took from that game, and you think you know where I'll go with this. Lampard doesn't like Klopp very much, does he?
No, it was talking about disrespect and everything.
Yeah, you've won. Obviously, I'll leave out a couple of the F words, the F words. But you've won one trophy and you're giving it the big one. Yeah. F off is what he said. And then I don't like, Chelsea aren't exactly my favourite team in the world, but I did laugh at that. Yeah. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, no, that was funny. And yeah, particularly, it was just 12 months ago. Frank Lampard was especially disrespectful to one club that had been very disrespectful to him.
Stop crying, Frank Lampard in the dressing room.
That's
on
it.
Binoculars.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, they did the exact Leeds.
Yes.
Did the exact same thing at Derby. Did you see the owner? We'll keep mixing in.
No,
I
didn't.
Anyway, so they won 5-3, and obviously it was fairly fitting that they lifted the Premier League trophy at Anfield on 96 points.
Right. Yeah.
That was quite nice. If you're a sentimental person.
Yeah.
No, and obviously today, 1-0 down, like the first...
It was 25 seconds.
50, it was 25 seconds.
It was 25 seconds, and VAR spent 2.5 minutes trying to work out if he was onside.
And then Liverpool just did what Liverpool did and comfortably won that game against Newcastle. We haven't got this scripted, but I was just thinking, what are your thoughts on Newcastle this season?
I don't know. They're one of those teams I'd kind of, if they were on telly, I'd kind of avoid to watch it. They're not very watchable. I mean, I know that's kind of Steve Bruce's way. They're about getting results rather than being entertaining. But yeah, I mean, they've stayed up and they've never really been in any doubt. But they've never really played any sort of good football. And
I can't remember watching a game this season going, oh, that Newcastle game was... I
think I can remember one, which is, I was up at yours and it was Liverpool against Newcastle, where...
right.
Was it Willems scored a cracker of a goal early on?
Yes, he cut on his right foot, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they're not the best games in the world. You'd always kind of choose to watch another team. And some of the big wins that they have got, I think Chelsea and I think Man United... They've been 1-0s. They've been really scrappy games, and they've been undeserved wins. But it's about getting the points, and they've never been in any doubt of sort of going down.
No, they're comfortably mid-table.
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, I know what you mean about when they. It's not like It's not like I avoid to watch them, but you know when it's like, oh, Newcastle games on. I mean, I guess it will be on, but I'm not watching it. I don't want to watch it, but I get what you're saying. Do you reckon Steve Bruce is there next year?
I think that's entirely dependent on the takeover or non-takeover, and he's
whenever that happens.
Yeah, he's said it pretty much every press conference for the last since football's resumed. He's just saying we need to know what's happening. We need to know one way or the other. We need to prepare for the new season, which kicks off in less than 7 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. You need to know.
Are you going to be playing a midfield of John Joe Shelby and Isaac Hayden, or are you going to be playing a midfield of Modric and De Bruyne
out front?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. One of the biggest things to come from today, because it was obviously there was still some relegation still up for grabs, and that was quite interesting to watch. But I think one of the biggest taking points from this was Leicester are not a Champions League side. They're Europa League. They've had a huge fall from grace. Mm-hmm. They were, as I said, I think I was saying to you before we started recording, they were challenging. I wouldn't say challenge. Challenging is very strong, but they were there with Liverpool and Man City, fighting, at least still in it.
I remember earlier in the season, it might have been December, January time, something like that. I think Leicester were 7 points clear of Man City, and I was really fancying them for second place. Yeah. And we recorded preview episodes for when football returned. I think we were both in agreement at the time saying that Leicester will be... Yeah, of course Leicester will be in the top 4.
Well, yeah. Comfortable.
But yeah, they've had a shocking sort of last 7 or 8 games. And yeah, they're still going to be playing Europa League, which is a good achievement. But it's not what it could have been.
Yeah. It's still a European tournament that I'm sure a club like Leicester would great to win, because then again, that if you win that, you're in the Champions League.
Yeah. An interesting stat to come from this is that back in, I think it was October or November, whenever it happened, when Leicester beat Southampton 9-0. Since then, Southampton have got more points than Leicester.
Wow, that's a cracking stat.
Yeah,
that's a cracking stat. Yeah, no, it's it was. I would have liked to have seen them in Champions League. Obviously, Jamie Vardy got the Golden Boot.
Yes,
but Leicester will always now be known as the club that conceded a goal to Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard scored the final goal of the 2019-20 season.
Yes.
Kasper Schmeichel, what was he doing? But it was a howler. But oh my word!
So yeah, he scored, what was it, 98th minute or something? Pretty much last kick of the season.
Yeah.
That was the first time Jesse Lingard has got a Premier League goal or assist since December 2018, when in that month he got 4 goals and 2 assists.
Right.
So he had one good... He's basically, his career, he's living off his debut for Birmingham where he scored 4 goals and one decent month in December. December 26th.
The Emirates.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Yeah, it's... No, don't want to throw any shade or disrespect to Lingard. If you're listening, tell your friends. But, he hasn't had an incredible season for United. And if he's still at United next season or whether it's a loan move for him, I don't know what their plans are.
Yeah, I didn't even realise he was even getting time on the bench, to be honest.
I forgot. I just completely forgot about him. I honestly did, and it sounds horrible to say because there was a point, even for England, like he was playing for England, and he's not too bad. He's one of those players that seems to turn up for England, but
he's an Andros Townsend.
So Wolves now obviously have to win the Europa League to at least, Champions League. That would be good for Wolves. And they've got to hope that Chelsea win the FA Cup in order for them to get a Europa League spot. But they felt, I wasn't expecting them to drop out of their European race, to be honest. Yeah. Domestically, anyway.
Yeah. But because for quite a while, Wolves were quite a way ahead of Tottenham, really. Yeah. And because this season, I still think, obviously I don't know from a Tottenham perspective, but I think Tottenham fans will put it down as a failure this season. And it seemed like another one of those ones that it was always going to happen. Wolves were going to finish above Tottenham and Wolves were going to get Europa League. And they just didn't. But I do expect them I expect them one way or the other to be playing European football next season, and I would like it to be Champions League.
It's a team of Tottenham stature and the players that they have, I think Europa League isn't where they are. They are a Champions League team. They've got a Champions League squad, Champions League manager. Yeah. And I think in that respect, yes, I think it's probably a failure. However, when you look at the start of the season and you look at like losing Poch, Mourinho coming in, it's been a bit of a, they've been mid-table 10th for a lot of the season, 10th and 9th. But since their restart, they've lost one game and they lost to Sheffield United. They drew 2 and won the rest.
It was quite convincing against Sheffield United. But yeah, they have had some very good games. And since Jose had his press conference where he announced that every striker is a success under him, whether it be Drogba's 400 goals in 12 games or whatever it is that he apparently got.
Amazing stat, that, yeah.
Harry Kane has been scoring goals again.
He has. That's really because Paul Merson now said that he thinks Tottenham next season will get Champions League because of Kane stuff. It's like, hold on, literally about a week ago you were like, oh no, Harry Kane's never going to get anywhere. He's never going to score goals against Mourinho. With Mourinho, and as you said recently, he's been scoring some goals for fun, and it's good to see that Harry Kane back.
You just need to. You just need to keep him fit, really. That's all it is. Because the amount of goals he scores is typical Harry Kane goals. He just sort of moves it with his right foot and just power low, bottom corner.
The placement.
Yeah.
The placement is unreal.
Yeah.
And one thing to note as well is that since the restart, there are players a bit like Hugo Lloris. Now, I know before the restart, obviously he's injured. He was accident prone. He was worse than De Gea at some points. But since the restart, he's been solid as hell. And Eric Dyer as well, he's been playing centre-back. And he's performed. He signed a new deal this week, didn't he? Signed a new deal, and he's really performed. He's kept Vertonghen out of the team, and obviously Vertonghen all but confirmed that is it for him at Tottenham. He's after 8 years he's left. So, and Sanchez obviously he's kept Sanchez out of the team as well. Yeah. So fair play because he was playing at CDM, wasn't he, Dyer?
Yeah,
he was very hit and miss.
But when they brought Dyer in from Sporting Lisbon 6-7 years ago, whatever it may well have been, he came in as a centre back, didn't he?
He did, and he scored his first 2 goals.
Yeah.
The first one was against West Ham. I mean, that writes you in the history books there for Spurs.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who the second goal was against, but yeah, 2 goals in 2 games.
Because he was top goal scorer in the league for a week, I think.
For that week, yeah.
Yeah, I think he might have scored one more goal that season because everyone put him in their fantasy team after those 2 weeks.
That's what happens after the first few weeks. Pookie straight in my fantasy team. Yeah. Sod all since. But no, it's Tottenham in the Europa League. That I think is a shout for potential winners next year if they keep the squad and strengthen. Obviously some areas that need strengthening. They've got one of the world's best strikers leading the front line.
Yeah,
and they've got some Heung-min Son and Bergwijn, and if Ndombele stays and he's fit, and Sissoko.
Lo Celso's getting rated very highly as well.
Lo Celso's so
fantastic player, and
yeah.
I watched a little bit of the Tottenham game today, and every time I watch him, Lucas Moura, he's just lightning down that wing. And then if you take him off, you bring in Bergwijn on.
Yeah, it's good to have that kind of. It looks like Tottenham for the first time in a while, other than strikers, seem to be having some form of depth.
Yes,
in the squad. So we'll see what happens next season. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about Tottenham there.
Yeah.
Yes, but obviously with Tottenham getting Europa, obviously that means Wolves have missed out, which is a shame. Che Adams is all of a sudden scoring some goals.
Yeah, maybe he's one of these players that just sort of thrives off confidence, really. He obviously got his first goal, an absolute worldie of a goal against Man City a couple of weeks ago, and he gets 2 goals today.
Well, that's what you need. You need that cut first goal, don't you, to set you off.
But then now the season's finished, so you can't go into next season with any.
But it's encouraging knowing he can score goals.
Yeah.
You haven't just bought for like 18 million, whatever it was, for him just to be there. And Danny Ings as well, finishing the season on 22 goals.
Yeah, second only to Vardy, isn't he?
Vardy, yeah. 2 Englishmen one of them's technically retired. We'll find out next year from English football. No, it's. I think credit where credit's due to old Ralph. I'm not going to say his second name because I'll probably butcher it. I'll call him Ralph Hasenhüttl. Ralph Hasenhüttl. Credit where credit is due, and to obviously the Southampton board. You lose 9-0 at home. That's a sacking, unless obviously you're the Alams, or
yes,
or the Southampton board.
Yeah.
But unlike a certain McCann, they didn't exactly bounce. Southampton bounced back from that kind of defeat.
Yeah,
and as you touched upon, they got more points than Leicester since then, and they've been really, really good to watch.
Yeah, you just hope that they can build on it. I know there's talk of Højbjerg moving to either Everton or Tottenham. Because he made comments during the lockdown that he wants to be playing at a higher level, from which he lost his captaincy, and it now looks like he's going to be moving on to potentially a bigger team. But yeah, you just hope that they can build on it, and they have got the makings of a good team, particularly if you keep Danny Ings fit, because this is the first season where Ings has stayed fit throughout.
He has, yeah. He's. I bet Liverpool must be quite a bit. Because they sold him on the basis that he was injury prone, but he's proved himself at Southampton. He's scoring 22 goals in the season.
There were comments midweek from Klopp saying he isn't 0.5% surprised that Ings has had the season he has had.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So no, it's. As you said, the investment's in the right area, keeping the right players fit, keeping the right players. You could potentially see a Poch level Southampton side again, who were in Europa League.
Southampton in Europa. We all love the song.
Yeah, and obviously, as I said before, Solanke. Ruining the stat. As the final Premier League games come to a close, it's worth mentioning. We did mention briefly, obviously, for Tongan. 8 years at Tottenham and solid defender, quite versatile, could play at left back as well. Old Supian,
yes.
As his celebration is leaving Tottenham, and David Silva, he's won every English domestic trophy that you could possibly win.
Yeah, what a player. He must be. Yeah, he must be right up there as one of the best attacking midfielders there's ever been in the Premier League, if not the best.
That's it. If you can play in the same position and in the same team as Kevin De Bruyne, and you're still being talked about as one of the best, you're pretty good at what you do. So
I remember David Silva coming in the same summer as Aguero, and that was sort of when Man City were first starting to become this bit of a superpower.
Yeah.
And I remember the first game of the season they played Swansea, beat them 4-0, and it was the closest English football has had to a Barca style of play. And since then they've just, the two of them, Aguero and Silva, have just been some of the Premier League's best.
He's been an absolute magician, and he's always so good to watch. Just has that way about him. And another one, Leighton Baines as well, retiring from the game. One thing, and I read this on Twitter, and when I think back about it, I was thinking that's actually really true, is that how loyal he stayed to Everton. Because how often was he linked with Man United?
Oh yeah, he's
every season.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that he is retired and that he is just going to go to United on a free in summer.
Finally going to United after.
It was every transfer window. Baines to United, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But it never did. He stayed with it.
Wand of a left foot. His set pieces were second to none. And there was a stage in his career where he had the highest assists in Europe as a left back, and he's a left back. So obviously it's not Digne. Obviously, when you look at Foden coming in for Silva, and Digne is the one that's kind of outplaced Leighton Baines. Good replacements. They're good to good people coming in for them. But no, we're sad to see him go. It's weird because this is when we started. This is when we were watching football when we were younger, everything like that, and all these players are going away now. And,
we've kind of lived through their whole career, and
exactly.
We've seen the start. And
what was it? David said, was it 10 years?
It was 10 years at Man City.
10 years. So we were 14 like when he first joined, and we were midway through secondary school. So and look at us now. Absolutely loving life. So, it's sad to see him go, but cheers.
So the next piece, we're talking about players who have had their shirt numbers retired. You got Bobby Moore, you got Diego Maradona, you've got Paolo Maldini, you've got Franco Baresi, you've got 17-year-old Jude Bellingham. So obviously he's 17 years old. He's just got a massive move to Borussia Dortmund, but he's played 42 games for Birmingham, and they're retiring his shirt number.
I would argue Obafemi Martins needs to have his shirt number.
Yeah.
Nicholas Sigic, whoever his name was, he played there for ages. Why isn't his shirt number?
It does just seem a little bit of a joke, doesn't it? It's been nice for me that this week the country's been laughing at a championship club and it hasn't entirely been Hull City. But
it's literally the season after Gerrard left. I think they gave Cater his number 8.
Yeah.
Like Gerrard. Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard. Emre Can took Jamie Carragher's number 23.
Yeah, so
Theo Walcott took Thierry Henry's number 14.
What do you have to do to get your shirt number retired at these clubs? But
get a big move to Dortmund.
Yeah, shit, 20 mil to Dortmund. But yeah, it's been talked about for a little while anyway. Well, the transfer has itself really, Bellingham to Dortmund, and I'm quite glad that he's gone there over United, over someone like that.
He had didn't he have a tour of Carrington? His parents did. Like, I'm pretty sure he had a tour.
Right.
Like him, it was before lockdown. Had a tour, thinking, this is the move for him, and then Dortmund come in. Obviously, you look at what they've done with the young talent they've had. No brainer.
Sancho, look at Reina. Yeah, I think it's not just good for Bellingham himself. I think it's good for England long term. Yes. Because I feel like he'll become a hell of a better player at Dortmund than he would at getting 10 minutes off the bench for United.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, this next season is going to be quite big for him, and it'll be good to see if he does get in. I found his introduction video.
Hey Jude.
Hey Jude.
Yeah,
I thought that was quite funny.
He comes out, goes hey.
Hi.
Yeah, no, that was quite good. Yeah, and I don't know that you would have seen this, but for the days previous, Dortmund, all of Dortmund's tweets had Beatles song titles in all the way through, like dated back days and days and days.
Did it really?
So then when they tweet "Hey Jude," it was it was quite it was really clever sort of marketing from them.
Fair play. So no, B, I don't want to sound like Emperor from Star Wars, but we'll be watching his career, great interest. So yeah,
definitely.
You probably don't get that.
I don't.
All my Star Wars fans out there, give me a hey. So I don't know, obviously, with editing, how long this is into the podcast, but we are 42 minutes into recording, Elliot. We have to mention it. We have to talk about it. Hull City are relegated from the Championship into League One. What? I'll let you talk.
It was inevitable for weeks, really, and I saw it coming miles off, and we didn't change anything. What is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So on that basis, our club is insane. Nothing changed.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. The only change that we could rely on was 67th minute. It would either be Tom Eaves for Josh McGuinness or Josh McGuinness for Tom Eaves, depending on who started. And you could just... I'm almost speechless. So from the point of January the 2nd onwards, we only needed 10 points to stay in the league. We got 6.
Yeah.
The second lowest in the league, because obviously it goes without saying that we were the lowest over that stretch of time. The second lowest was Sheffield Wednesday, who had 10 more points than us. They had 16 points from the last 20 games. We had 6. And changes had to be made, and they had to be made a lot, well, I was going to say a lot earlier, but they weren't made. Changes needed to be made before lockdown, really.
Yeah.
And it's happened, and hopefully it gives us a chance to sort of rebuild, but for any chance of that, we need new owners.
That is a good place to start. Obviously, the fear I know over the past couple of weeks, we have really heard your thoughts on Hull. With fear of this not turning into a Hull City podcast.
Yeah, we'd rather do that.
If you want to hear Elliot's rants, and past couple we've actually received some quite good feedback from people that have listened about your thoughts on Hull. It's been nice to hear people that are listening thinking, I agree. Yeah, it's a shame to see Hull go down. I'm semi-happy because obviously we get our game.
Yeah.
Next season's podcast, there'll be 2 podcasts with me and you. One of us is going to be happy.
Yeah.
We're a bit braggy, but we'll move on to this, Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
Barnsley were in the relegation zone every week from the 15th of September until the 91st minute in the final game of the season, and they survived. Charlton were in it for 1 week all season and got relegated.
Wow. Yeah,
The Championship.
That's phenomenal, yeah.
I think the Championship, it's so overlooked. Well, I didn't watch a particular game. I was watching Soccer Saturday, or Soccer Tuesday when it was on. Old Jeff, Jeff and his friends. And how often it was changing. And it was the table, like there was one point Brentford were going up. Oh no, and then West Brom went back up, and then Luton staying up, and then Barnsley were back down, then Luton were back down, Charlton were back up. Still say bottom. But like there were there was movements everywhere. But there's one thing as well, and again I'm not bringing it back to Hull on purpose, but Barnsley, Luton changed their managers.
Yeah, exactly.
And they got results. I tweeted about it. Luton, Nathan Jones, what he did at Luton, he came in, and I think they were 10 points off. They were bottom of the league, 10 points off safety, Luton. And he came in, and obviously they've stayed up. Granted, it was 2 own goals and a penalty.
But they've done it. That's the important thing.
They did it, exactly. Yeah. They got the points. And Barnsley to go at Brentford, who needed to win.
It's not just that as well. It was the previous game. They got a 91st minute to keep them in it against Nottingham Forest, which hard team to play. Then, for any chance to stay up, you've got to go to arguably the best team in the league and get a win when they need a win as well.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah,
and Barnsley played so good from what I saw clips, and obviously I've been listening to like the pundits and stuff. It sounded like Barnsley were playing out of their skins, and I don't. Again, I'm not really bringing it back to Hull, but I remember saying to you as well, if it had to come down to Hull winning 16-0. They still would have been relegated because Barnsley and Luton won.
We could have won 100-0 and we'd have still gone down.
And obviously that final team that was relegated was Wigan, which is an absolute farce that they have been relegated.
Yeah,
they got relegated with +1 goal difference.
Yeah, I can't think of another team that have gone down with positive goal difference. But you can hope that their appeal goes through and they do stay up, and they stay up through the courts. But it's kind of done now. They're down. Yeah. They've got players who have already been announced for other clubs. It sounds like they've been relegated. It's so harsh.
Absolutely shocking from the EFL to allow that to happen. The EFL have failed Wigan so immensely, and Wigan got punished for it. And there needs to be some change in system or just something there.
And I'm sure what will make it even harder for the Wigan fans to take is that they didn't just take that 12-point deduction lying down. They wanted it. Yeah, I mean, look, the 8-0, they were winning some massive games. They beat Stoke comprehensively. They were going into every game leaving everything on the pitch for the team. Yeah. And that's what very, very nearly kept them up.
And any other day against a Fulham side, again, who needed to win, more of an outside chance than Brentford, they're going up, but they still needed to win. To get a point against that Fulham side, any other day, that's a cracking point. That's a brilliant point for Wigan.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that it relegated them. And Paul Cook, he's really, listening to some of his pre-match, you can tell he was quite holding back the tears on some of them, but his passion for it. Yeah. I think Wigan, I know it's still subject to appeal, but I've still got the mindset that they're down. Yeah. I think they're straight back up. I think if they can get a takeover done relatively quickly so that they don't have to sell off a load of their players, I think they'll be okay. But I can see, regardless of what happens, someone like Paul Cook staying in charge, even if it means taking a massive pay cut or whatever. He knows what it's like to be at that club. He knows the feeling around it, and he'll want to make it his job to get them back in the Championship. Yes.
And I know you get all these teams saying, oh, back where we belong, but Wigan do belong in the Championship after the season they've had.
Yeah, they had a great season, and it's just a farce. Every time I think about it, it's so annoying knowing that their owners are probably celebrating the fact that they got relegated because they got a big payout. Yeah, obviously, still, there's speculation there, but we won't go too into it. But it's just so frustrating to think about to see that happen. But if they're down, obviously, good luck to them next season. Obviously, apart from the 2 games you have against Gillingham, and we'll see how you go. Now, I live in Derby, and I'd say I'm not a Derby fan, but I have that, they're my home,
Bit
they're my
of
local,
a soft spot, yeah.
They're my local team now, and obviously when Jacob grows up, me, support your local team. Jacob wants to grow up to be a Derby fan, that'd be brilliant. We'll go to Derby games with him, have a season ticket. Now, because of that semi-love that I have for Derby, Nottingham Forest had a 6-goal swing to stay in the playoffs. And they lost it. They're out.
It was pretty ruthless from Stoke, wasn't it? They've got absolutely nothing to play for. And in the 91st minute, they're tearing half their team forwards on a counter-attack.
To score an own goal.
Yeah.
But don't take, obviously, credit to Swansea as well. They beat Reading comfortably. Like, do you see Routledge's goal? He just took it one touchdown and chipped it over the keeper. Oh, wow. It was exquisite. Mm-hmm. And they obviously got that playoff place over Nottingham Forest. I don't know. Nottingham Forest, I swear, every time I looked at the championship table, they were in the playoffs the whole time. They were like fifth.
They were third or fourth for a lot of the season. Yeah, and then they just kind of drop off. And you never expected them to drop out.
No.
And they're one of those sort of big traditional teams that a lot of people would like to see back in the Premier League. It's not going to be this season.
No, and I think it does come back to that 96th minute equaliser.
Chris Martin. I was about to mention that, yeah. Now, that must have, if they'd have won that game, that must have all but confirmed their playoff space.
Yeah.
And penny for the guy's thoughts who jumped into the canal that afternoon.
Yeah, well, he's probably jumping in the canal again, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
But I can't believe that. It was just how they did it. It wasn't like there was 1 or 2 goal difference in it and, they lost and it was a must-win game and, they lost. Yeah. They lost convincingly and Swansea won. It was 6 goals. There was 6 goals in it.
You can surely only really put that down to sort of a bit of complacency, thinking, oh, yeah, of course we're in the playoffs, and it's come back to bite them 91 minutes later.
That's it. It seems to, I feel like it's happened for quite a few seasons in a row. They've always kind of been hovering around that play. It's up until January. They seem to be there. And then afterwards, they're just...
You know who that's sounding like? That's sounding like the Derby County of a few years ago. They'd always be first or second in the league. And then they'd end up dropping out of the playoffs come the end of the season. And maybe that sort of poor form's just got across Brian Clough Way to Nottingham.
Up the A50, straight to Nottingham. No, obviously Derby and Forest still in another season. Whether Forest do it again, playoffs, they always seem to hover around there. I said that there was a point where it was Derby were semi looking like they could get playoffs. They lost a couple of vital games towards the end. But who knows, next season it could be a Midlands Derby playoff final for all we know. Like, that would be fun to see. So
yeah, that would be, and hopefully with fans in the stand.
Yeah, we'll bring these two together, obviously, because we're just recording this straight after the playoff game between Swansea and Brentford. Brentford, they lost. I'm not sure what's happened to. I don't know if it's a nerve thing or because they were, I think for a good 10 minutes, they were in the Premier League. They were automatically in the Premier League, and obviously West Brom equalised and Brentford were losing. Brentford lost against Stoke, which had to make their game against Barnsley a must-win. They lost against Barnsley, and you're thinking, oh, okay, playoffs, you can do a bit of, let's have a bit of a push for the playoffs. Yeah. And they've lost again, 1-0 to Swansea. Now, the goal was fantastic.
What a finish by Ayew.
Yeah, what a goal. However, I can't help but think the game was turned by one of the worst red card decisions I've seen this year. Shocking.
The defender, Rico Henry, has got the ball. He's gone in hard. Yeah. But the man's got the ball. Play on.
I'd say you could argue that it was probably a foul, because obviously when you look at football now, like, it was quite hard.
Protected.
Yeah. And I get it if it's a foul, but he did get the ball, he got a lot of the man. But a red, that is overturned. If that is not overturned for the next game, I'll be absolutely shocked. It was a shocking decision. And then, obviously, Brentford gave away a penalty. I'd say it was kind of brilliantly saved by Raya in goal, but it was a little bit of a poor penalty by Ayew.
Yeah.
All accounts. I mean, did you see the starting position of him?
Yeah, it was. And on Ayew's run-up, he kind of gave it away with his body shape where he was going to go. And I think, although there was a bit of power behind the ball, it was as easy as a penalty save can almost be.
Yeah. So Swansea go to Brentford, the last ever game at Griffin Park.
Yeah.
Now, they go to that with a 1-0 win. Now, Brentford will want to see off Griffin Park, the final game ever you play in that stadium to get you to Wembley. They've got, they'll want to try and sign it off like that. But Swansea, it was a decent game, and Swansea were looking all right, to be fair. That's...
Yeah, for a low-scoring game, it was quite entertaining. It was very end-to-end. It was very open, particularly until the red card. But yeah, Swansea have the form at the moment. They've got into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. And Brentford have lost their form. It's dropping away. And my thought is maybe it's a sort of lack of experience. Brentford have got a lot of very good players, but they haven't got a lot of experienced players who have played a lot of big games. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is Pontus Jansson's played a handful of big games for Leeds, but then obviously he hasn't played games at Wembley. He lost in the playoffs last season with Leeds. And I think that's the only thing I can really put it down to, a lack of experience.
That makes sense. And tomorrow, obviously, at time of you guys listening, it will be yesterday, Fulham and Cardiff. Now, one thing I don't think has been touched upon too much this year is Neil Harris came in from Millwall to Cardiff, and in all, from what I remember, don't think it was very well received by Cardiff fans. Because he was all Millwall manager. He's been in League One up to Championship. He's done that, but Cardiff, who want to go back to the Premier League, want to try and fight back to the Prem. He's done a hell of a job. Playoffs in his first season in charge, and they looked comfortable. Yeah,
he's done brilliant. I think he is the ideal replacement for Neil Warnock. He's almost a young Neil Warnock, and was very suited to Millwall. He was very much not about having the best 11, but it was about getting them to work well and be a team together and work hard. And I think he maybe took Millwall as far as he could, at least on current budgets and everything like that. But yeah, he's done a fantastic job at Cardiff, and they've sort of just got under the radar. And,
that's it. Yeah,
there's a 1 in 4 chance of them reaching the Premier League again.
Yeah, and Scott Parker's Fulham, you can't deny how he's done in charge. I know he was half in charge, second half of the season last season, or he took over the final few games. He did all right, obviously giving him a whole season in the Championship, and he's proved that he is the right man for the job. Yes. So, what are your thoughts? Quick prediction for tomorrow's game. What are you thinking? It's going to make us look stupid if we're. I'm going
to sit on the fence. I'm going to go with a draw. I think that they'd both be happy with a draw. Really, set it to just don't be out of the tie.
Yeah, that's fair. I think this is a weird one. I want Brentford out of the 4. I want Brentford to go up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I want Brentford to go up.
I think Fulham will win tomorrow. However, it's weird. I want to see Brentford go up. However, in the final, I'd love to see a Cardiff
Welsh
final.
derby.
I'd absolutely love to see that in the final. But Brentford Fulham, that's a derby in itself as well, isn't it? That's a London derby. So
yeah, West London derby. There's only a sort of a mile and a half between the two grounds.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, you guys will know what the score is. Listen to this, but I just think Fulham might edge it.
So normally we have a Euro roundup, and there hasn't been a lot of European football this week, so we don't really have that. But we are touching on one league that I don't think has been mentioned before, which is the Chinese league. With today,
that league we know very, very well.
With today, Marian Fellaini scoring a 7-minute hat trick, and I believe that they were all headers.
All 3 of them were headers. Yeah.
Yes, he's done a rondon.
Elliot, I will give you £10 if you can name me both the teams. You owe me £10.
I don't want to offend anyone.
No, that's fine. But to be fair, I don't even know who he plays for.
I'd guess Shanghai Shenzhou, and Guangzhou Evergrande.
Yeah,
I'm going to look it up now. If
You're going to Google
right,
it, please,
you owe me £10.
I said who the 2 teams involved. You can tell me one of them. That's a £5, I guess.
Oh no, it was Dalian Pro,
right?
And it was against his team, which is Shandong Lundeng.
Oh yeah, right,
something like that. But that Dalian Pro is the team that Rafa Benitez manages, with Solomon Rondon up front.
Oh, cool.
So there's your Chinese roundup.
Yeah, there's the Chinese roundup. That is not a feature that is sticking. I promise. Yeah, that's all right, fine. Righto, so we come to the end of the podcast. No context news, where me and Elliot challenge each other to find the most random news headlines from around the world that really make us think. I don't know what Elliot goes for. He doesn't know what I go for. We say the headline and we end it. Elliot, we peaked last week, so I'm going for another pun, because I'm not topping that. I'm absolutely not topping that. So I've gone for another pun.
Yeah. I'll make sure I post the link to the last news piece as well.
Oh, please. I couldn't. Just for viewership purposes, after the podcast stopped, I carried on laughing for a good 2-3 minutes. There was just 2 and 3 minutes of Audacity footage of just me laughing. But yes, I've gone for another pun. It's not going to be very well received. Hey ho. A crazy wife says to her husband that moose are falling from the sky. The husband says, "It's reindeer." So we thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Oh, that was shocking, wasn't it? We thank you very much for listening to the podcast. We are TO Goal Podcast on Twitter. Please give us a like and subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube as well through On Goal. Now, obviously, Premier League has ended. Football has ended, all intents and purposes, but don't think we are slowing down. We've still got a few quizzes coming. Sam v Elliot, that table's still going. Got our team of the season. We've got previews for the next season. We've got Champions Europa League. We are not slowing down. Premier League then starts, and then you've got a whole season of us just talking about football and pretty much nothing else. And we love doing it. I've been Sam.
And I've been Elliot.
We thank you very much for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.